What if your burnout isn't just stress, but your body's way of screaming that you're completely out of alignment with who you really are? In this episode, holistic healer Eva Vennari reveals how she came back from the edge of chronic illness and now helps high achievers reverse fatigue and reclaim their lives by working on both the lab data and the quantum field. Let's dive
in order to be happy. Because if you're not, it's going to reveal itself. It's going to show in premature aging. It's going to show up in chronic illness. It's going to show up in early death, living out your life propped up on medications for 20 years before you die in an old people's home. This is not what we envision when we come here. Take the time. Most people don't. They do not take the time. Look out into your future. If you continue doing what you're doing today, is this what you want to be doing 10 years from now? Because if you don't put in the effort, nothing's going to change.
This is From Wounds to Wisdom with Barbie Moreno. Real talk, deep healing, and stories that turn pain into power. Let's dive in. On this episode of From Wounds to Wisdom, we welcome Eva Vennari, true holistic healer and founder of the Elevate Institute. After healing herself from chronic illness and burnout, Eva now helps high achievers restore health and balance by blending science with ancient energy practices. Join us as we explore her unique approach to healing the body, mind, and soul. Welcome, Eva.
Thanks for having me.
Today, I would love to talk about like the quantum field and all of those good things. It's super, super fun and stuff that we generally don't talk about. Tell us a little bit about you before we get into the fun stuff.
I don't think I've seen anybody else on Facebook fill out as many interests in their profile as I have. I win.
Mm.
So it's time I have that constant curiosity in life. I want to know about things. I don't want 30 years of the same in life. I want to know about flying, which I get to be a pilot. I want to know about playing an instrument. I get to play in philharmonics. I want to know about riding a horse. So I go and buy a horse. I just go and do it. I decide I'm going to do this today. So that's who I am.
I'm that type of person too, and I drive my husband absolutely insane.
That's
Although I am aware that buying a horse is a little bit out of my price range at this point. So you do all of these different fun things, but I know you have a story of burnout. I know you have a story that, you weren't nearly as fun as you are today. So give us a background on that.
it starts with being in a place as a child where we put the fun in dysfunction but didn't know it was dysfunctional. And that can suppress you from all of your expression, who you are, what you're about, because you get bullied or made fun of by people who are supposed to love you. And that was where it started. So the suppression of who I was, let's isolate, I don't feel safe in my home, that turned into this person who was very much of I was a shell of a person until I finally moved out. And then once I moved out, just completely shifted and changed. And when my body had this ability to finally relax, is when I noticed how burned out I was.
When you say you moved out, how old were you when you moved out?
Oh, if I could move out at 13, I would have. It was
So
so
this journey started at 18. You weren't like, somebody who went to a regular job and then burned out and all of that stuff.
that was eventually what happened. And that revealed itself when I realized I wasn't working in my purpose.
Mhm.
It was kind of a 1-2 punch. Let's start you off with a body that was raised on Pop-Tarts and Doritos and Capri Suns. This was my nutrition. Nobody knew any better. Raised on microwave foods. Like
Mhm.
at some point, my mom fell in love with the microwave and she was making our birthday cakes with the microwave.
Oh, wow, fun.
Yes, not to demonize anyone or anything. That's just, they didn't know that it was going to be a problem.
Right.
So my body didn't have the nutrition it needed, and I was already depressed. Well, when you're already depressed, and I don't just mean like, oh, I feel sad for myself. It's when the body can't function at its ideal. You can't get the proper sleep. You're not thinking straight. You're not going to make good decisions. And so I ended up making decisions that were based on what other people were telling me were important. Oh, Eva, don't get a job in art. You'll be a starving artist. Get a job in something that we know is going to pay you well. Well, the things
Mhm.
that would pay me well depressed me more
Right.
and didn't feed me as a human. It was demoralizing. So one bad decision led to another, which made me feel worse. And that is the cycle of what I would call burnout that eventually turned into chronic fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, depression, fibromyalgia, itchy skin, heart palpitations, infertility, short-term memory loss, arthritis, all of these things, in addition to perimenopause at the age of 28. These things, that's not normal.
It
Supposed
seems
to
like
do
it's
that.
normal in our society now, though, right? Like this is just kind of the way people live. We ignore our authentic self. We do things that we're not aligned with because we're told we have to make a certain amount of money, have a house, have 2.5 kids or 1.5 kids, whatever it is you're supposed to have, 2 to 3 cars, all of these different things. And so we give
Yeah.
up ourselves and we become this thing that is not aligned.
It doesn't fit into the mold of what our social support team has
Mhm.
decided is appropriate. And you have to be a little bit of a rebellious person to find your authentic self and maintain it, keep it, and guard it with your life, because
Mhm.
that's what it's going to take. It's courageous. You are now a soldier for yourself.
Tell us
Yeah.
what all of this quantum stuff is.
The quantum space is where I was told I'm to build an army. It's all of the unseen parts of our world. The quantum is where our physical body finally converges to show what we've been truly thinking and feeling. The quantum space is where that begins. So when you have a thought, it's not actually in your head, it's outside of you. So anything outside of the physical body, I would call that a quantum space. And
Mhm.
many things can occur there.
For the average person, let's
Yeah.
talk about when you say a thought is not in your head, it's, out in this quantum space. What's the consequence of thoughts?
Thoughts are things. So what you think is what you experience. It's how you think is what ends up being your reality. That means that you can adjust your reality through your thoughts. You're not going to be able to change what's black into a purple by
Right.
looking at it and thinking it. It starts with before you get the physical thing in your hand. And that's
Mm.
true with everything in life. It's all about what you're creating outside of what you see. What you see is just a reflection of what you're feeling and thinking inside. Right?
You coach people and work with people in all of these different things. I'm an overachiever woman trying to prove my worth in the world. And I want to come to you. I'm exhausted. My life is just not working for me. I feel like every day that I wake up, it is hard and I don't like it, but I need the money that I make to survive because I have children and I have a house and all of these different things. Tell me how your way of looking at the world and teaching people, what would you do with me?
The first thing I would do, just because you described exactly where I was, that's where I was when I started.
Yeah.
I had two girls, little ones. Their father had passed away. I was raising them on my own with no to little to and the job market, women, glass ceiling. So we have all of these fun situations where we're got to have the job in order to take care of the kids, and I understand that intimately well.
Mhm.
So meet the person exactly where they are. And tired, fatigued, the body's not working the way that you want it to, think it should, expect it to. You're right. Let's meet you there. And so we work at the physical body and get that to start to function on a level where you can start to believe in it again. Because many people who come to me are complaining about all these things. I don't like my body. I don't like my work. I don't like my job. I don't like my life. I don't like that I'm a single parent. I don't like these. I don't like. They don't
Mhm.
have the emotional energy or the bandwidth in their mind to even think up a new thought. They're so busy surviving and
Mhm.
the body's not responding. So they've lost faith in it and they feel betrayed by it. My body's falling apart. It's not working the way it should. I got a lemon for a body. No, you didn't. No, it's the starting there. Let's get the body supported. And that is a much easier process than we think. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the quantum space, but it's where we start.
For somebody who's not in the quantum space and not in that space, I know a lot of people who try to just kind of jump and then they just end up miserable because they're like they're not good enough for this, but they don't want to be here, right? So they're like sitting in this like purgatory where they're trying
Yeah.
to be something that they're not because they didn't take the steps that they need. And then they're trying to take the steps that they need, but then they don't want to go back to their old life because that's miserable. So we meet them where they're at. Yes, love that. Okay, so I'm doing the work. I've been with you for a bit now. I'm feeling physically better. My
Yeah.
mindset's starting to shift. When do you
Yeah.
introduce all of this quantum stuff?
So this is the fun part because I'll get on a phone call with a client. How you doing? So when we first start, it's more like a that fake, fine. No, you're not.
I'm like, shitty. It's been a shit day.
So that conversation shifts, and after a while, it turns into a story. This
Mm.
happened today, and da 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 da. It's usually about relationshiping. It's about how things are starting to unfold. And they now, that's evidence for me that they have more of a free way of the mind. More energy is being available for them to think, to feel, to process. Ah, okay, interesting. So then they stop. It's 100% true. You didn't ask me about how my day went like this. I just told you a story. It probably has nothing to do with my healing. So let's get back to it. And I'm like, actually, you just gave me insight as to what's going on inside your body. And I said, this could be a healing reaction that a heavy metal has kept that memory of your trauma stuck in the body for years. And now it's finally coming out, and you have the energy and the mental capacity and the emotional bandwidth to process it. And we have some choices here. We can either wave at this memory and watch it go by, or we can see if there's other meaning in it for you so you don't repeat the issue in the future. And I'll ask them, you want to explore this more deeply? Almost 100%. Yeah, let's dig in. And it could be anywhere from a belief, and this gets them starting with the idea, oh my, I didn't realize that this belief that I've been holding on to, that either a parent or a loved one, or they just learned, picked up from society, because Gen Xers especially, we raised each other. So we pick up things that are not true and we bring them into adulthood thinking they're supposed to work forever, and they don't. And it's time to upgrade and change and evolve. So we have to recognize, or if we want to feel better, we have to recognize when to evolve and what to pick apart. And not even, people repeat themselves, they repeat the beliefs, they don't realize they're repeating it.
I'm now aware of my patterns, my thoughts, how that manifests into the world, and all of these different things. What am I really looking to tap into? Where is the beautiful, fun, authentic, where we really are? Like, where's that in the quantum field, and how does that work?
We think our memories are here in our brain, and they're not. They're in this space that is part of the quantum collective. And so that's a huge container of all of our souls where we are. And it's hard for our brain to even decipher that, give it a definition. It's kind of like thinking about $1 billion. I can't even, like, what does that look like? I don't know.
Right.
And the same thing is true when we come to it comes to our souls and where we live. And I say all of that because there's all these ideas that pop in. The only reason we have time and space is to support the 3D body that we have. Outside of this body, once we pass and before we came in, it's all now. We're done. Everything's done. There is no time. There is no space to traverse. It's just we are. We've never been born, so we can never die. That's kind of the idea. So when we tap into that idea, it becomes really infinite. It's kind of like learning the guitar, knowing that you can actually make any note along the, I forget what that's called. It's not a fret, but anywhere all along that guitar, you can make any note once you know the basics of it. You don't have to master each chord. And that's what it's like working in the quantum. It is not a linear function of do this and then that will happen. It's the world will open up to you. Where am I going with all this? Well, if we're here during the time that we're here on Earth, wouldn't it behoove us to know more about who we are as a collective, who we are as that eternal being? What does that mean for a human that is containing a piece of that spirit body? What can we do with that? Is it just manifesting? Is it just a little bit of magic here and there? Or is there something more to it? And I think there's something more to it, and I see it all the time. And I watch people go from being scared because they're experiencing something new. Just like any time we don't have information about something, we're scared of it initially. Once we learn about it, we become more comfortable with the subject, the person, the place, the thing. For example, ghosts. People who have the gift of spirit communication, they oftentimes can walk into a building and be the only one who knows that there's a ghost there. And they're scared of it. They're scared that, oh gosh, did you see that over in the corner? Did you see that sphere? Did you see that bulb? Did you see that? Nobody else is experiencing it, so they kind of shut down. Well, what if we nurtured that? What if you realize that those spirits are just people without bodies? What if you realize that they need help? What if you realize you're a person who can offer that help? That opens up your world and your frame of reference from the experience of being a ghost hunter. Oh, did you see that happening? To I understand you're here to give a message before you go on to the other side, and that person that you need a message to is right over here. What a difference from being scared to being an owner. And that's quantum.
I also think, like in the work that I do in this as well, once we understand the experiences that we have in life were lessons we chose to learn, you are no longer a victim of your past or your life. You simply say, what did I want to learn from this? Why did I put this in my path? Right? It's just so empowering because it comes with the understanding, like in our world, that really you chose all of this. Like you chose it because it's an experience. And like you said, when you're not in physical form, when you're not in body, none of it kind of cease to exist, right? That's why we incarnate, because we want to have these experiences to evolve the consciousness and all of these different things that people are gonna be like, what the hell are they talking about? But I feel like the wisdom that comes through what you're teaching the world is that you are you're here to learn, right? You're here to understand, to have that you can, learn maybe different perspectives or whatever the case may be, elevate the consciousness. And while you're here, you don't have to be stuck in 3D. Yeah.
I spent half my time on what I would call the other side of the veil. And I would be completely bored to death as a human if I was only stuck with what I see in front of me here.
Well, and like I know a lot of people will say, like, how do you believe in all that crap? And I'm like, well, do you believe in a God? Yeah. Can you see the God? No. What's the difference?
No, none.
Right? It's just what can
Yeah.
you see your eyes, people like. And then if it's not something that you can see it with your eyes, somehow a God in the sky, is believable, but none of this stuff, right? How do you
Yeah.
incorporate this in the people that you like coach and help?
They usually have some sort of an experience with me.
Mhm.
Or like we're talking about, if they have a haunting experience and they realize, oh, I must have the gift of spirit communication. Then the next question is, well, how do I develop that? And so if we're going through and doing some healing work where we're clearing away the old muck so that they can see more clearly, kind of like you clean your windshield of your car every once in a while so you can drive better. We do that energetically. There's some activations you can do to get tuned into the gifts that you have. They're not going to be the same as mine or the same as yours. They're going to be specific to that person. So it's their own curiosity and desire to develop the skill that drives it forward. I never push anything, but the development is much like planting a seed and then nurturing it with the water and letting it grow into a seedling and then blossom, because sometimes your gifts will come online before you know what you're to use them for.
Mm. And why would an average person want to go through all of this stuff? Why not just stay in my own little world and make my little money? So why wouldn't I
Yeah,
just want to play it safe?
you can. It's your choice. This is the agency of free will. The thing is, if you are here on earth in body, part of the collective consciousness, with a predetermined purpose that says, I'm here to heal humanity and change the world in some way, whatever that is, whatever that way is, then life will hit you upside the head with a 2x4 and change your circumstances for you if you don't change them for yourself and read the writing on the wall. We have the choice to leave it and say, I don't want to. Those who don't feel that little desire to heal humanity and change the world, don't worry about it. In fact, I would say don't meddle in it. It is not for everybody. But if you have that little kernel, this work is what's going to help you.
Through your transition into who you truly are from the world that we're taught to live in. If I'm just an average listener who's like, this is kind of weird, but what has she learned that she can give me as a tool? What would you say?
I think this goes back to all these ideas are coming into my head at once, and it's all giving me this concept of feeling good, feeling healthy in the body. And if you're not feeling that way, if you're not feeling that way, then something is missing. And so be curious enough to ask.
Mm.
And we're not meant to do these things alone. There are some of us who've been the way showers who had to struggle to get through it, but the way is shown, the way is there. And so if you have curiosity, listen to it. Listen to that above all else. Don't depend on other people's opinions of you and what they think you should fit into in order to be happy. Because if you're not, it's going to reveal itself. It's going to show in premature aging. It's going to show up in chronic illness. It's going to show up in early death, living out your life propped up on medications for 20 years before you die in an old people's home. This is not what we envision when we come here. So take the time. Most people don't. They do not take the time. Look out into your future. If you continue doing what you're doing today, is this what you want to be doing 10 years from now? Because if you don't put in the effort, nothing's going to change. There are
You,
three things that come with us when we go from the quantum space pre-human into our bodies. That's love, that's ecstasy, and that's laughter. We love a good comedian and we chase ecstasy until we figure this out. And love really is something that we give ourselves. It's not something that we receive.
it goes back to, I noticed that you talk a lot about like the physical health part of it. But if you don't love yourself, you won't take care of the physical self. Do you like yourself?
Do I?
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't. And what's cool, I love most is my curiosity.
And that's like the biggest gift of all, right? Liking yourself. There's so many gifts, but that's what's an amazing gift because so many of us don't.
I think you brought up a really good point, and I think that I hear this concept from the other side. You don't know how lucky you are to be there.
Mhm.
And there's not a jealousy, but kinda for this collective to be here right now on this earth and experience it. If you look around, you see all the great headlines. And I mean that seriously, great headlines. We're here in a time of great upheaval. There
Yeah.
is so much opportunity for leaders to rise up into their positions of power and authority with their gifts, and they're not doing it. And I'm here to help them get the
Right.
courage to do so.
And one thing we all know is that we don't change without discomfort in human form.
Yep. So we
So,
got a lot.
right, we got a lot of discomfort. So, how do we know if we're in touch with that quantum field, the spirits, the teams, the guides, the angels? How do we know? Like, how do we feel them?
Oh, I think that's a visceral for everybody's a little bit different. Just because I haven't been anybody's body other than
Mm.
my own, but I can give you that expression. So the closest thing that I think we all experience is that sense of peace when we go into meditation. And this is usually the place where I'm approached by the non-physical for contact. And depending on the species of the contact, you'll have a different experience. And
Mm.
you'll get to know what that is over and over. It's just like a neighbor comes over or kid across the street, decides to play outside. Two different experiences, two different energies. It's kind of like that.
Mhm.
So, how do you know? Learn what those energies are when you are in meditation. And then when
Mhm.
you're out of meditation, you have something to compare it to. You ever
Yeah.
walked into a room full of people and right away you're like, oh, that person's energy is off?
Mhm. We know,
You're,
right?
you're receiving contact through quantum space.
Mm.
We're just much bigger than where our skin ends. We're supposedly 9 meters wide or more. I don't know how big I am, but I know that when somebody walks in the room behind me
Mm.
and I know that they've walked in, it's
Mhm.
because their body that's bigger than them has crossed paths and entered my DNA. And immediately I'm like, oh yeah, that person's here. A little antenna goes. That's how we know when we think of somebody and then next thing you know, they're calling us.
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's funny.
that's usually my favorite
That was gonna be
example.
my
So,
example.
or when you're driving, I noticed I can tell when somebody wants over but hasn't put their blinker on yet.
Or you just
Yeah.
know to stop when there's no stop sign, but you just have that
Yes.
gut feeling like just stop.
Come to a stop here in LA. We have those stupid little bird, the scooters, and people
Mhm.
drive on them on the sidewalk. We know they're there, and we don't. And a couple of times, a little voice in my head said, "Don't go all the way out into the sidewalk." And next thing I know, I'm stopped, and here goes the kid. You can't see because there's a wall or bushes or something in the way.
So my takeaway from talking to you is that there's more than we can see. We can all tap into it. And if you don't maintain your physical, it's very hard to be your full authentic self.
True.
Yeah. How do people reach out to you if they're interested in your coaching in general? Because I know not all your coaching is based on this, right? Like you work with high achievers, you work with people in stress and burnout and all of these different things. I mean, I
Yeah.
would imagine the end goal is to get people in touch with who they really are. But they can start from a different place and maybe they don't need to go down this route, right? Maybe they just work with you because your intuition tells them what they need, and then you teach them to tap into their intuition. So how do they find you?
Yeah, best way is through my website, which is theelevateinstitute.com.
Mhm.
And that's going to be a lot to consume there. There's more podcasts like this one. There's articles on the mineral balancing that we talked about, articles on self-love. There's all kinds of things. I've got a blog, as well as a free gift offer, which is the Essential Energy Quotient Test I
Mm.
invented. It's kind of like we know what our IQ is, we know what our EQ is, but we don't know what our EEQ is. What is it? It's all, how much energy do we have for healing? What have we done self-love wise to take care of ourselves for healing capacity? And this puts it into a number for you so you could see it, quantify it. And you can get that right on the website.
I didn't know you had that. I'm gonna have to check that out. Don't you do?
I do. So part of 90% of what I offer is remote. I love traveling and I love, being anywhere I can to help others. So I discovered also 10% of my work requires one-on-one, in-person, hands-on healing. And so I turned that into retreats. So I have a cruise retreat. One is coming up very soon.
Mhm.
I'll be leaving August 21st and leaving out of Seattle. So that's a retreat. It's called the VIP experience. And I offer other cruises after. This is just my flagship, but there'll be more, and then land retreats as well. So those who work with me, especially if they decide they want to do my full 1 year program, it includes a seat. You pick your choice. Do you want to be on a cruise ship and rocked to sleep every night? Or would you rather be in a treehouse? So these are your
Your
options.
house without the bugs. No. Can you arrange that one?
I'll work on it.
Well, thank you for coming on. I love that we had a different conversation than the traditional wounds to wisdom, right? There's more that we don't know and that we can learn. So thank you for sharing that. And I will put all of your information in the description.
Thank you so much for having me.
If this story spoke to you, let's keep the healing going. Visit barbiemoreno.com for my online course, Awakening Your Worth in Healing Energy sessions, one-on-one coaching, and your free healing guide. Your next step is waiting.